Okay, we are looking at another of Lu Maoyi's games. This one, Mongolian International Master is facing her, and this is a more recent game. So, as you can see, she's rated at 23-22 at this one, and her opponent playing with white pieces, 23-82. Let's go ahead and get right into the game. The Mongolian Master starts with the ready opening. Knight to f3 starting the game. Lu Maoyi goes with pawn to d5. This ends up transposing into like a queen's gambit declined here as the Mongolian Master plays pawn to d4, knight to f6. These are all book moves. Pawn to c4. So we have the queen's gambit with pawn to c4, and now e6. This is the queen's gambit declined, and these are all book moves again. Knight to c3 now by the Mongolian master. Actually, it ends up being kind of an accepted as she does capture on c4. So we have D captures c4 by Lu Maoyi. So the Mongolian master plays pawn to e4, and now Lu Maoyi plays somewhat of a strange move here. She plays pawn to b5. Pawn to b5, kind of offering that pawn up perhaps as a sacrifice. Bishop comes to g5 rather than taking that pawn. Stockfish recommends instead just going ahead and pushing the pawn and kicking the knight, but that will come here in a second. Yeah, Lu Maoyi actually ignores this pin here, which I found interesting. She doesn't care about the pin. She actually just defends the pawn with pawn to a6. So a bit strange. Lu Maoyi often, she makes a lot of pawn moves, and normally I would say that's not the best way to play, but it certainly works for her. This is actually the best move in the position. So the strongest move in the position was just to defend that pawn now at that point. And now we do see pawn to e5, as you might have expected. The knight is pinned. What are you going to do about that? Well, Lu Maoyi just attacks the bishop rather than capture. And so this has been played before in dozens of games. Actually, this position has been played, as crazy as it seems, with this strange pawn structure over here. In all of the cases, the bishop did move back. And then we also had pawn to g5. And in many of those cases, the knight does capture. So we had pawn to g5, and then we have knight captures g5. We have pawn captures g5, and now bishop captures g5, maintaining that pin. So yeah, Lu Maoyi is up 2 points at this point, but this knight is probably going to fall as it's pinned to the queen, and the pawn could capture. Lu Maoyi goes ahead and plays knight b to d7, knight b d7, defending the knight, get another defender on the knight. And now we have queen to f3, and that attacks the rook. And actually, this position has been played several times. So this exact molecule of a chessboard has come up before. And of course, in every position, they did move the rook to b8. And now finally, we have pawn captures on f6. Definitely the best move in the position. And then we have bishop to b7 attacking the queen. So probably just moving the queen back to to e2 would have been better here, but instead the Mongolian master pushes the pawn here. Knight to b6 here, attacking that pawn. Perhaps it might have been better just to go ahead and capture the pawn, suggests the engine. Bishop captures pawn, but okay, here we are. Knight to b6 was played, and now we have castles by the international master from Mongolia. And again, kind of a strange castle. I just saw this in a recent game. Castling to a half-open file like that seems a bit dangerous, but perhaps because Lu Maoyi has these pawns here, it's going to be hard to attack the king there. So it does make some sense. And now we have knight captures on d5. This next move is definitely a blunder. Again, this position has been played before up to this point. But this move has never been played before, perhaps because it's a blunder. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to play that move. The move suggested by the engine is pawn to h4, maybe defending the bishop. Obviously Lu Maoyi is not going to be castling in this position. an attack on that side would make some sense. Lu Maoyi, of course, captures the errant bishop. Why was the bishop there in the first place? I'm not quite sure. Now we have rook H to E1, pinning the pawn here, putting pressure on the king perhaps. And Lu Maoyi finds the strongest move. She just wants to get out of that pin. So she plays king to D7, getting out of that mess. And now we have queen to G4, pinning again. So we have all kinds of pins to the king here. Seems like Lu Maoyi might be in trouble here. Things aren't looking super good, but she finds the best move, just trying to run away from the situation. Of course, the pin here still exists, but some of the other pins not, although the knight is still pinned to the queen. So looks really scary here for black, for Lu Maoyi. And the Mongolian international master finds the strongest move in the position. Rook to E5 now. Just kind of getting his pieces developed. And Lu Maoyi goes ahead and gets another defender on that attacked knight with pawn to C6. And then the rook goes back to E4, which actually is the best move. So repositioning that rook, putting pressure on this pawn here. And Lu Maoyi just brings her bishop back. She just pulls her bishop back here, which is actually the best move in the position as considered by Stockfish, the engine running in the background here. And now the rook does go ahead and grab the pawn, which was definitely a good move. Although perhaps bishop here might have been better. But this was a fine move. It was a good move. And now Lu Maoyi plays queen to B6, which was not necessarily the best move. You can see the evaluation bar changing. So she did have an advantage in the previous move. But now with queen here, that's not quite as good. The engine actually suggests pushing the pawn, I suppose, defended by the bishop then rather than the queen. But of course, Lu Maoyi is threatening to capture here for checkmate. So yeah, that's pretty intimidating. So it does make sense. I do like this move by Lu Maoyi. What probably should have happened here is just going ahead and sacrificing the rook for the knight. We actually would have about equal chances. Obviously, you have the issue with the queen coming here, but the king should be able to save himself. If you play rook takes knight. Kind of a tough move to see though, so it does make sense. This seems like a good move. Knight to, so the international master from Mongolia plays knight to A4 here, attacking the queen, but also defending the pawn on B2. But Lu Maoyi just goes ahead and moves her queen up out of danger, attacking the rook, although the rook is defended, just putting pressure in the position. And now the Mongolian master, white, plays pawn to H4 now, which would have been a good move if it was played earlier. Probably a better move here would just be kind of a strange move, considering the queen is attacking that pawn. The better move would have been king to B1 here. King to B1 would have been a better move, but okay, he played pawn to H4, so it's Lu Maoyi's turn, and she goes ahead and pushes this pawn here. She plays pawn to A5, and now white plays queen to D4. And now Lu Maoyi finds a very strong bishop to B4. Now the knight is hanging as kind of playing interference here. So interfering with the rook's defense of the knight. And so, got to defend that knight. Really the only move to do that is pawn to B3. But now bishop comes to A3 with check. So the king has got to move. This is definitely the best square for the king, moving the king to B1. And now we have rook to D8, lining up with the queen there. And then white plays rook to D2. And then we have bishop comes back to B5. This is definitely the best move in the position, attacking that rook. So bishop B4. Bishop comes to B4, excuse me. And now we have lining up the rooks. We have rook d to c2, putting a lot of pressure on that pawn there, although it is defended twice by the bishop and the queen, so maybe not too much of a threat just yet. Lu Miaoyi goes ahead and brings her knight back to b6 here, perhaps offering seems like a pretty obvious trade here. That knight is terrible there, so of course the best move is just to go ahead and capture that knight with your really poorly placed white knight. And so we have so knight to b6 was played by Lu Miaoyi, and then white plays knight takes b6. Then we have rook takes b6, and then white plays queen back to g4. And now we have an excellent move by Lu Miaoyi, just trying to undermine the king safety. She plays pawn to b4, or pawn to a4, excuse me. And we have white playing rook to b2. And now Lu Miaoyi goes ahead and moves that bishop once again, bishop to a3. And the international master goes ahead and grabs the a pawn. So we have rook captures on a4. Of course, the queen is also defending the rook there. But now Lu Miaoyi finds the strongest move in the position, which is queen to f1 check. The bishop comes back to block. We have bishop to c1. And now Lu Miaoyi, of course, captures the rook. Well, this is the computer says this is a brilliant move, but definitely makes sense. Winning the exchange here. So we have bishop captures on b2. We have king captures on b2. And now queen captures on f2 with check once again. The king goes back to b1. And now we have bishop to b7 as the bishop was hanging, and that would have been kind of a disaster. The rook could have captured on a8 with check. So that was definitely the best move in the position. Probably white should have gone for the queen trade here to give some drawing chances, but a lot of times these, if you're playing with white pieces, you should be playing for the win at this level of chess. So, he's not looking for that. So he actually plays queen to g7, going after this pawn perhaps, kind of undermining the pawn structure there, giving himself chances maybe to, in the future, promote a queen. But that was a bit of a mistake since it leaves queen to f5 check playable here. And the king moves back to b2 once again. And now we have queen to e5 check once again, and the king drops back to b1. And now bishop to a6 is played, and actually white resigns in this position, which maybe it's not entirely obvious why, but there is a mate in one threatened here. Bishop here would just be checkmate. So that is part of the issue. But you could just sacrifice your rook for the bishop, but of course the rook could capture back, and that would put white down 5 points right there. So again, the issue is the bishop comes here for mate, and actually the best move suggested to play here is a bit crazy. It's actually queen to g6 is recommended to be the best move by the engines here, but of course that's losing as well, because you can still go ahead and play bishop here, check. It's not checkmate in this case because, you can play this, but then you still lose your queen. So, not a lot that can be done in this position. Again, it seems to me like the rook capture would be better. You're losing less material. But the engine suggests queen to g6 as the best defense of this checkmate, and it's just a lost position. There's really nothing that can be done here. The international master from Mongolia resigns to 12-year-old Lu Miaoyi. This man is 49 years old, so the 49-year-old man resigns to 12-year-old Lu Miaoyi. So another dominant performance, just incredible. So last couple games I've covered her playing the black pieces because yeah, it was the first 3 games I think were her playing the white pieces. But yeah, thank you for checking that out with me. Please like and subscribe as I will be covering all of Lu Miaoyi's games, all of her decisive games. I'm going to start off, yeah, I will definitely cover those. I also cover Grandmaster games. I'm going to be posting tactics. I just did one on overworked pieces. And actually, I'm going to post another one on overworked pieces because we didn't get through all that much material. I wanted to do a little more of that. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Take care. Bye-bye.